We always wanted to know how mutants was coming to the MCU. I think we got our answer. Welcome to the house. What it do, what it do, what it do. Welcome to Blues News. I am Bluminati, man. You know how we get down. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Do what you gotta do. But let's get right on into it, man. Now, a lot of y'all are wondering what I'm talking about. How are mutants coming to the MCU? Well, Marvel Comics, that is, has a big, huge summer 2022 blockbuster coming. Judgment Day. Now, Judgment Day is a showdown between the Avengers, the X-Men, and Eternals. Marvel states that the Eternals will learn a devastating secret regarding the truth about mutant kind and something to do with their own stuff. Now, that secret being is that to them, mutants are now considered deviants. I'm going to say that again. Mutants are now considered deviants in the eyes of Eternals. Now, we ain't really got to the meat and potatoes of what's going on, but we just hold on to that for a second. Just keep that with me. Seems that it's going to be a conflict between mutants or X-Men and Eternals. Mutants, X-Men, Eternals fighting for whatever they fighting for. Like I said, it seems like the Eternals think that mutants are deviants, and with the Avengers in the middle, they all gonna meet up and fight, right? Do their thing, fight. Mutants, deviants fighting, whatever. But we do know that mutants and Eternals do share a history, right? We do know that already. We know that. So there were like 3 quotes given by, I guess, each faction, each leader or each representative of said faction. You have Tony Stark speaking. He says, speaking broadly, I'm pro hubris, but how on earth do you think we're going to make a god in a few hours? That's what Tony Stark says. We get one from Irene Adler. If y'all don't know who Irene Adler is the mutant known as Destiny. She's a precog, which means that she can see the future. She says there will always be a war. That's one thing we can always be sure of. That's one thing one can always be sure of. That's Irene Adler, Destiny. Then we have, for 1,000,000 years, Earth has been protected from the deviants, but we made a mistake. We missed some, the mutants. Now that comes from Druid. And the reason I want to emphasize on this, reason why this quote is so important is that last part. Or, well, we could read in the whole. For 1,000,000 years, Earth has been protected from deviants. So we know that the Eternals protect the Earth from deviants. That's their sole job. He goes on to say, but we made a mistake. We missed some, the mutants. So they are now classifying mutants as deviants. Now, this is just Marvel Comics. This is just in the comics, right? This isn't the MCU yet, per se. I'm going to get there. Follow me. Now, in Marvel Comics, we know that the Celestials, who we just saw in the Eternals movie in the MCU, created humans, deviants, and Eternals, right? Eternals being these godlike beings, look human, but have these special powers, live forever, stuff like that. It was said that they're, spoiler alert, said that they're androids in the MCU. That's not how it is in the comics, but they're androids in the MCU. Then we have deviants. Deviants were basically came from the same stock. They just de-evolved or evolved differently, right? And they went on to kind of go crazy and beat up on regular humans. But also, the Celestials, when experimenting on humans, they evolved. They took the humans and they wanted them to just evolve naturally. But they also implanted them with a latent gene, the X gene. That's how you get mutants. So down the line, as humans evolve, they evolve into Homo superior, aka mutants, because of the X gene. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm bringing that up, or why does that matter as far as what's going on in Marvel Comics. Like I said, we're doing history lessons. Now, we know Thanos is an Eternal in the comics. We don't know if he's an Eternal yet in the MCU. We know that his brother Star Fox showed up, yada yada yada, but we still haven't got anything concrete on what Thanos is in the MCU. But in the comics, Thanos is a mutant, an eternal mutant, right? Which means that he's an Eternal that carries the deviant gene. So he's not a mutant in the human sense, but in the I guess you can call it, I don't even know what you call Eternals, Homo Eternus or whatever. That might be a new one. But he's a mutant to their kind because he carries the deviant gene, right? And stay with me. I'm almost there. Thanos is a mutant. He's already showed up. So now let's come back. And how does the mutants come into this? If they're retconning what the mutants are into the comics, right, and saying that, yeah, they're not just mutants, they're deviants, or that gene is what the X gene is, and that's how, because the way I look at it now, you have the Eternals, they went one way in the evolutionary chain. You have the deviants, they went another way in the evolutionary chain, and now you have mutants going this way in the evolutionary chain, right? They were all experimented on by the Celestials, all of them. So from the humans that the Celestials experimented on, you got Eternals, deviants, and mutants. Now, if the Eternals are saying that mutants are also deviants, and that X gene is what made mutants, then now let's take that into the MCU. How can you easily just throw mutants into the MCU? We just saw deviants, right? We just saw the Eternals have been around since the dawn of humankind. So have deviants. So if you have deviants maybe mating with humans, or Eternals mating with humans, there's your mutant right there. And it's simple. It's simple. It's easy to explain. That bloodline being coming through year after year, millennia, you know what I'm saying? However long it takes. And then they finally start becoming mutants. And it's explained. We don't need a massive power surge, or you can even say that the massive power surge created them, or made that latent gene actually start coming out. Certain things that happen, who knows? But this is an easier way for them to explain mutants showing up in the MCU. Now, I don't know if they're going to go this route. I don't even know if this retcon is going to stick, or if this is just a misunderstanding. Remember, we're dealing with the comic side of Marvel, and this is, which is not the MCU side of Marvel. But we do know that they share synergy. It's a synergistic relationship. I think I said that word right, because you've seen the MCU take certain characters, whether they revamp the costumes or just revamp the story, and then the comic side of things carry on that on the comic side of the house, and vice versa. You see the comic side of the house implement some things, and then you see the MCU carry some things out. One being when the Inhumans was getting a big push, and they were trying to get rid of the X-Men because they didn't own that property, so they was pushing the Inhumans real hard. So just be on the lookout for that. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think that this would be an easy way for mutants to be introduced into the MCU? This is Blues News. I'm your host, Bluminati. Appreciate it.